saddle and a switchblade knife. Rather the dog out his motorbike. Looking for legends on the Sunset Strip with a stone cold paranormal partnership. That's what town Rick tried to sell me some crack. Listen to the podcast, man, and take that shit back. It's Urban Legends, the podcast about urban legends. And here your host, Neil and Chris. You'll receive our pod in your ears tonight.
Hello, welcome to Urban Legends, podcast about urban legends. My name is Chris Flynn and I'm doing the talking. Each week we do urban legends. The other person who does talking is...
Yeah, but right.
Hi Neil, how's it going?
Well, that's rare instances where I don't voice. Right? Going well.
Good stuff, glad to hear it.
It's all,
So a bit of admin first.
Go on then.
Got here our lawyers. I've suggested that we read this out. So it's
Our lawyers.
Our lawyers, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a
See where this goes.
It was a cease and desist from American pizza chain Domino's. Last week, obviously, I said that I didn't mention
off the mark.
I didn't mention them, but somehow they managed to. They managed to
pierce
realise
the veil of the illusions you were making.
It was amazing,
somehow.
wasn't it? They could see through the mists.
That's why they get paid the big bucks. These fancy lawyers, lawyer inside.
That's it. So I've got this to read out from Domino's. Just so otherwise, we could be in hot water or hot pizza. So
sounds good.
On last week's episode of the podcast Insert Name, it was suggested that Domino's pizzas could cause acid reflux in the consumer.
Yeah. Good job you didn't mention the stage 4 cancer.
Oh, no. No, that's another one.
I hope not.
Domino's Pizza would like to inform you that independent studies performed at Domino University have shown that
only 20% of cases.
That acid reflux and heartburn only happen in cases where the person eats less than one Domino's pizza per week. In future, to not have the acid reflux, we would suggest higher intake of Domino's pizza. Yours,
that's reasonable.
Domino's pizza. So there you go. That's what they had to say. Got that out of the way. Good, we're covered. Neil,
it's kind of like a cease and desist mixed with an advert, isn't it? It's an interesting approach they've taken.
It's a legaltoria, I think it's called.
Yeah, fair enough.
Legatorial. Neil, have you ever seen the film Highlander? Because I saw the first 20 minutes of it last night, and I've got some thoughts.
You thought it was shite, did you? No, I actually thoroughly enjoy it. You got. I don't think I like Clancy Brown. He's a good sort of villain actor. He's really good in it as whatever he's the Kurgan, is it?
I don't know. I saw 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. He's the Scottish guy at the start. You've got Christophe Lambert playing Scotsman hilariously with a French accent. You've got. I don't think you've come across the Sean Connery bit.
Sean Connery playing a Spanish man with a Scottish accent.
Although he was in Japan for years and also has an Egyptian/Japanese sword. I think. Yeah, it's baffling.
Scottish.
You can't think about it too hard, Chris. You can't think.
No.
One of those movies has been made by a guy who used to do
heroin.
Yeah, probably. No. Probably more like cocaine. But no, Russell McKay, I think he used to do videos for like Duran Duran, I think.
Okay,
I think it's a bit of an underappreciated classic. It's very cheesy.
So
Queen soundtrack, but I enjoy it. Anyway, so
it's got a Queen soundtrack.
So what did you get to then? So you saw the wrestling bit at the start. You presume you saw the first fight.
Yeah. So the first fight, right?
Maybe
so
the lady sword thing.
So the first fight bit,
bit of the Lambert charm.
So that was So that was interesting, the first fight bit, because the guy who was fighting...
There's a lot of hand flips, doesn't he?
Kept doing backflips, but then, like, being right next to Christopher Lambert, like, the continuity was...
Yeah, interesting editing decisions.
was really bizarre. And I like the fact that all the cars went mad.
Do you like his little orgasm at the end?
Yeah.
His little car electricity orgasm.
Yeah, that's good.
Is the quickening? I don't think you come across that bit yet.
No. And then suddenly, like, quick cut, then you're in Scotland, right?
Yeah, Bonnie Scotland.
Although what I will say is...
I have a Bonnie lass.
Yeah, there's a Bonnie lass.
Because Senior Imrie is like bird in that, isn't it? I think.
And then she goes, make sure you get him back in one piece. And then the guy goes, I don't know what piece you're talking about. And you're like, no, that doesn't make any sense, because one piece would mean that
just bring back his cock.
But that's not bringing him back in. But that's not bringing him back in one piece either. Because his cock would then it would be a minimum of two pieces.
Look, Highlanders weren't known for their... If you've seen Braveheart, they weren't known for their repartee.
So the one thing which I will say for the film is it's more historically accurate than Braveheart.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So, and also, his second name's MacLeod, and the MacLeods obviously famously...
The Clan MacLeod, yeah.
The Clan MacLeod obviously famously moved into...
Queen music.
Moved into being quite smug architecture people, didn't they? Like in the modern era, on grand designs. Is that where
the Clan MacLeod? Yeah,
yeah. So I might watch the rest of it. I've got that one. And also there was the guy who was like who they were going for the fight with.
Is this against the Kurgan? He's like vaguely Russian or something.
I don't know, but like his outfit was like he had kind of a weird dragon's.
He had like a dead skull or something on him. Yeah.
Yeah. Where's that? What's that from?
I don't know. Well, okay, so
weird armor.
There will be an explanation for why he looks kind of foreign, because I think the idea is he's not actually from Scotland himself.
I'm not from Scotland.
Yeah. The Kurgan. I think he's meant to be more kind of like East European.
He's Kurdish.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows exactly where he comes from? Kurd man. Yeah, I don't think he's meant to be. But then they explained this kind of like they've. Well, I mean, I might as well. It's not really spoiling the movie for you. Anyone who wants to see like a fucking 30-year-old silly movie. Yeah, they're all immortals that. They're dotted all over the place, and some of them have been living for thousands of years. But obviously, this is his first life or whatever. They don't try and explain it, which is good because they try and do that in the second movie, which is shit.
Wow.
If you ever get around to watching the first one, explain the plot in seconds. You don't need that.
Right.
But basically, they don't. What's good is they explain enough of the mythology that you can kind of got something to grip onto, but then they don't try and make. You just don't think about it too hard, frankly. But yeah, they're all over the.
But how can you do that with a film, but you can't do it with the things we discuss on this podcast?
Well, it's because that's a film and this is reality. Because it's meant to be kind of like it's trying to build up its own mythology. Do you know what I mean? It's like complaining that the Greek myths don't make sense. It's not always.
They don't. I'm always complaining about that. That's why I don't think we should ever give the Parthenon marbles back.
Yeah,
I consider that a tax for talking bollocks.
Yeah, when Homer learns to be realistic, not lean on the old literal Jesus Machana endings every time, then
exactly you can have them back.
Marbles back.
Yeah, but until then, fuck off. The Troika would just take him anyway. Oh, a little bit of politics.
I think that's it's very much a product of its time, isn't it? But yeah, you're missing out if you don't watch the rest of it. It's good 80s fun in all the best ways, I would say.
So I think the thing, like it was quite a big film in the 80s, which is kind of unbelievable. But I remember my friend's brother had like the poster of Highlander on his wall.
I think it became big on VHS. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those ones where it didn't probably do very well in the cinema, but then like everyone loved the shit out of it, and it just got a big cult status. I mean, the bad guys. I think the thing is, I like a good bad guy, and Clancy Brown's really he eats so much scenery in that movie. It's fantastic. There's a brilliant. If you do end up watching it, there's two really funny scenes. One with him and a priest, and one with him chatting with sort of a prostitute, but I don't know. It's hard to explain, but they're quite funny. That sounds weird, but actually.
Okay. All right. Well,
it's just his acting. He does it quite. I don't know. He does line readings that shouldn't be funny on paper. That
are good. He throws himself at the lines.
Well, I'll say that one actually. The thing there's this whole big thing where it's him like practicing with a sword, and it's all that kind of like. Duh. And then, and then he's sort of down on one knee and looking all really cool and the rest of it. And they undercut it really nicely when she comes in and goes, "Hi, I'm Candy." And he's like, "Of course you are." I can't do it justice, but the way he does that line reading, it's fucking funny for some reason.
The sound effects are quite good as well. Like when the swords clash together, they've used like a far too high pitched light sound effects. Like two rapiers hitting together rather than two big swords.
There's a lot of very interesting creative choices. But I don't know, somehow it works for me. It's like smothering it all over with a Queen soundtrack. That shouldn't work, but somehow it does. It's a lot. There's certain movies you can only make them in the 80s.
Did I think the Queen would do a worse soundtrack than Flash Gordon? No, I didn't until yesterday.
Again, Flash Gordon kind of works for me. It's cheesy. It's cheesy as they'll get out. But then
Queen are though, aren't they?
Oh yeah, I mean that's what they are. But it's kind of pompous and it's kind of ridiculous. But it just kind of it is what it is. But it kind of you can look down your nose at it, or you can just have a bit of fun with it. As far as so yeah, I couldn't hand on heart say it's a good movie, but it's a lot of fun.
So what we should try and do is do a really low budget film with because you could do Highlander style now for probably about 15 quid. Like, do you know what I mean? It's probably, it cost more back then, but do that and then get the Darkness to do the soundtrack. The modern day Queen.
Yeah, I think there's
it's a bit too knowing.
Yeah, I think you can't do it. You can't do it in an ironic fact. The thing is, with the 80s, you could do all of that stuff without. It wasn't ironic, and now everyone has to do it very much wink, wink, and all the rest of it. And it's really, I don't think you can go back and do those things. I think they're a product of their time.
Well, fair enough. And the only other thing that I had to do for the start of this was I heard recently that you sell monkeys for cash. Is that true?
Can neither confirm nor deny that.
Okay.
If somebody happened to want a monkey, then I might be able to put them in the direction where I get it.
Off books.
Not saying I'd have hands on or be involved in any way that could legally incriminate me, but
Okay. Hangleton Pub Car Park, 11 o'clock.
Said Chris, if somebody wants to get in touch, there's something you want to get hold of, full stop.
Right,
just give me a shout through the socials.
I'll hit this mysterious person's Telegram channel up then. Lovely. So what are we talking about,
Chris? Who knows? If there's a glut of monkeys on the market, maybe they need to go to a good home.
If some monkeys have fallen off the back of a lorry, who knows?
What a nice place to go.
Come on, then. You're doing the heavy lifting today. I was
going to talk about that superconductor that's been all over the news. But
let's do that then.
Do you want to do that? It will be brief.
We found a fifth element.
Yeah, it's the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
So, there's
fifth force of nature.
So LK99, I think it's called. They found a room temperature superconductor.
Oh, well, no, this is different.
Oh, okay.
So I was talking about, in the, what's the big particle accelerator in the US called? Can't remember.
The one where they found the evidence of the Higgs boson?
No, that was in CERN.
Oh, right, that's the European one.
Yes.
I can't remember.
But they found potentially the first evidence of a fifth force, natural force. So you've got gravity, electromagnetism, strong and weak nuclear, but they found a fifth. So they're researching that now. So that could be your dark matter, couldn't it? Or your dark energy.
Who knows? I mean, nobody knows what dark matter is, do they? Which is why it's such a mystery. But
yeah, that's why it's dark.
Yeah. No.
So they've got a room temperature superconductor because that changes everything.
Well, yeah. I mean, everyone's like, "Well, that's game over." Like everyone, we're going to get
why haven't I heard of this?
World. It might be because it's a load of bollocks. It's all over Twitter at the moment, and you know BBC. Me, I'm a skeptic, so I'm fairly no. So it was a South Korean lab where they've published an article. So not the genuine scientific article has been published. They're claiming to have found a room temperature superconductor. It's called LK99 at the time. By the time this goes out, it's probably already been massively debunked. I suspect you'll probably hear it a month after we're recording this. But yeah, I mean, who knows? But yeah, it's kind of, it can. I can't remember what they call it now, but there's an effect, it's a magnetism effect. So they've shown pictures of it floating, and apparently it can be made with kind of like materials that you can pretty much, it's not like really exotic materials. It could be made at home. So there's a load of labs trying to replicate it at the moment. But yeah, but by the time you listen to this, it'll probably have been debunked, because these things usually are. But
not yet.
Hey, if not, then
but that's a real game changer.
Yeah, we're
that could be very. That's you're in hoverboard territory at that point.
Oh, and the rest. Hover cars.
No, just that. That's as far as my imagination can go.
Hoverboards and
film
trainers that do themselves up,
and jackets that compress to your size.
Those
and really shit.
Back to the Future 2 technologies haven't taken off.
Really shit 8-bit digital sharks.
Yeah. And jokes about the Cubs winning the World Series that came true.
They were a year late, it was very prescient, wasn't it?
Yeah. What did they know? Nothing. It was just a joke.
Pepsi Cola, that's where it started. Pepsi was just a spin-off drink from the movie, and did really well because the film did well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
True Facts again on True Fact Podcast.
True Fact Podcast with Tris, Lynn, and Nigel
O'Fact.
Nigel O'Fact.
Yeah. That's a case of nominative determinism for you.
So,
facts in my name, facts in my game.
Facts by nature, facts in my drawers.
Nigel, we found out your birth name was originally Nigel K. Bullshit.
Well, nominative determinism, I think, like Jacob Rees-Mogg, the terrible monkey man, he... well,
I don't know him personally. Not to take to dinner or anything, but I know of him.
He's really against the low emission zones, isn't he, of course?
Against a lot of things, I would imagine.
Yeah, although one thing he's not against is human sacrifice to appease the markets.
Oh no, of course not. I'm sure he'll be quite happy.
But he's got, because his name, if you break it, it's Jacob as in redo, Smog. And, that's what he wants. He wants smog. So that's nominative determinism, because he's against any green legislation. And his name's Jacob Rees-Mogg. Don't puff your cheeks out.
That was a long walk up a hill. No fucking reason, wasn't it? Right, anyway. You done with that?
I thought that was all right.
You going to eke any more out of that?
No, I mean, this stone's dry. Have you got any more that I can get some blood out of?
Well, on that note, let's go on to our...
exciting.
Subject of today's podcast. I don't think I've actually mentioned this to you yet, Chris, but it's the death ship of the Platte River in Wyoming.
What? The death shit of the Platte River?
The death ship. Look, I can't enunciate the words. I mean, that might... I've just instantly disappointed everyone because they were hoping for a death shit.
A death shit, yeah. Like a shit.
We're going to get a cease and desist from Domino's again.
The deafest of all shits. Yeah. So the death...
That's very much death as in like Def Jam or something. It's like with an egg. It's not
death.
It's not you'd end up crapping yourself to death. Not like you get cholera from their pizza or anything.
No, it's
not often anyway.
Well, not if you eat enough of it.
So it's barely we're talking about. Yeah.
Most of the worms have been cooked out.
Yeah, a little bit of blood's normal. Don't worry about it. It's flushing down.
Depends. Is it fresh? Rather than, it's fine.
There you go.
Yeah,
when you think about it, they used to, the surgery bombs used to bleed people because they were getting too sanguine. So it's good to flush a bit of that out.
Yeah, if anything, that's why it says on the box, balances humours.
Yeah, exactly. Don't want to get alarmingly sanguine. I believe we're still, that's the thing we should bring back, isn't it? Just adhering to the full.
Do you think we're going to get? Do you think
all modern medicine is just a scam, and then just go back to Galen?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll tell you what, Chris, it lasted thousands of years, unlike this so-called modern science.
That's true.
So, all of a sudden,
modern science hasn't lasted for thousands of years.
And who's gotten rich? Pharmaceutical companies.
Old medicine lasted thousands of years. Current medicine hasn't lasted thousands of years, so the old one's definitely the best.
It's not like we've seen life expectancy gone up.
Actually,
let's shut up. There's anything with facts, can't you?
Yeah.
In the pocket of Big Pharma. Who publishes the stats, Chris?
Big
Pharma and Big Stat.
Domino University.
Yeah.
Domino's University and Bowel Clinic.
Anyway, I think you've pulled us off piste, right? But
you pulled us off piste.
Back on the
apparently,
I just gleefully went down that slope.
Apparently, at Domino's University, Dr. Domino's gives you can go there to rehabilitate, like at the Kellogg's facility, and you get like Domino's enemas quite a lot, that kind of thing. No wanking, all that kind of stuff.
You don't want those humours being whatever.
You need to keep all that in. Yeah.
Right. So
Death Ship
of the Platte River, Wyoming. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Platte. Well, I would imagine it's pronounced Platte because there's a River Plate in Argentina, I believe it is.
Yeah.
The River Plate. Anyway, this is not the River Plate. This is the Platte River in Wyoming.
No, the River Plate, as you said in your previous sentence, is in Argentina, not in Wyoming.
Yeah. No, just when I was doing a bit of googling, it kept wanting to correct me. But this.
So how's it spelled?
TT.
Yeah, River Platte. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like David Platt.
Yeah.
The footballist.
Yeah.
Who looked quite a lot like the grinning man of last week's episode.
Yeah. He didn't grin as often as the grinning man, one assumes.
I remember when he scored that volley for England, he had the grinning man grin. He looked quite evil.
He did, yeah. And he did have his hands up in his armpits as well.
Yeah.
He never really took on commentary or anything, did he? You don't hear anything from him these days.
No, it's thick as pig shit.
Yeah, like that stops me. Don't get me wrong, I don't know anything against him. I'm not sure Shearer is the brightest fucking soul in the box either. Oh god! Don't get me started on some of the ones. It's bad enough with like some of the old boys on BBC and.
Hey, look, this is an international podcast, Neil. Don't be talking about British football commentators.
All right. Anyway, back to Wyoming. Yeah.
Yep. Back to Wyoming, where my heart was born. Back to Wyoming, where I first met corn. Back to Wyoming, where I had my scorn against you, the way you left me.
Very good.
Famous song.
Fair enough.
The Wyoming national anthem.
Is that the Wyoming rap?
Yeah, it was done by a DJ called Herc in the Bronx in 1976.
Sweet. So this is from Legends of America.
So where it was a strange time in rap. They don't talk about it much anymore. But before gangster rap, there was a lot of sort of country rap, which because you had like lots of old country records that they used to
sample,
to pick up and sample, before all the sort of kung fu and stuff that the Wu-Tang Clan brought in. They used to be mainly
country hillbilly samples, with Moses and stuff, or Johnny Cash.
Yeah, Johnny Cash.
Can't remember any other country musicians.
No, me neither. I think that's it.
Yeah, Slim Pickens.
Slim Pickens, yep, he was one. He was one of the best.
Yeah. Johnny Two Fingers. Alabama Jim.
Alabama Jim.
Yeah.
Horace Dubois.
Yes. Al Miela? No, that's not an Azer. There was an else. There was a guitarist.
Anyway. Billy Haybarn.
Yeah.
He was good. Couldn't play it now, though.
No, well, don't know. That hasn't aged as well.
Didn't age well, did it? No, had a lot of opinions.
Anyway, Legends of America, traveling through American history, destinations and legends since 2003.
Oh.
Which doesn't sound that old, but it's 20 years. And what I quite like is it's got a little mountain range with a hat on, with a 10-gallon hat on.
With a 10-gallon hat? Well, it had to be bigger. Had to be bigger than that to fit on a mountain, Neil.
Well, or a very small mountain. Maybe it's like a bonsai mountain thing.
Bonsai mountain, one of those ones where you have to like remove rocks, so that it doesn't grow too much.
Yeah.
Right. Are these the ones that you're selling out the back of that magazine?
Again, if people want to find mountain ranges, I can, just a broker. You let me know what you need. I'll see what we can do.
Got a side hustle with the hats?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what you need now as an urban legend listener. I'm going to fit you up with one right nice. See how you get along.
Let's see how we get along then. To see the quality of the merch.
Platte River, Wyoming. Don't come back to me talk about quality. I'm just a broker. I just put one in touch with the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were
No
looking for it,
refunds.
they were supplying it. No, well, that's between you and the supplier.
I take a little finder's fee.
Yeah, well, that's, just introducing one party to another party.
Grease the palms.
So, on the Platte River between Torrington and Alcova, Wyoming, a legend persists that a ship of death continues to sail upon sometimes dangerous waters.
Mm.
The phantom ship rises out of a strange mist that quickly becomes a massive rolling ball of fog.
Rolling ball of fog, eh?
Yeah.
Mm.
As the ship grows closer, witnesses report that its sails and masts are covered with frost.
Chilly.
Yeah. The crew, also covered with frost, stands upon its deck and huddled around a corpse lying on a canvas sheet.
What?
The legend continues the ship always foreshadows the death of someone who will die on the day it's spotted. So you've got a nice ship. There's
people standing around looking at a body.
Yeah.
They're all chilly.
And as the crew steps back, the corpse's identity is revealed as a person known to the witness, or by the witness.
Wow, that's cool.
So this is quite a nice little setup. So this first one, I'm gonna skip over the next bit because it very quickly goes through the sightings, which I'm going to go somewhere else to.
This is interesting. This is new.
Yeah, this is quite a good one, I think.
Yeah.
Every case was reported in the late fall, and in all cases, the person seen upon the deck of the Phantom ship died on the very same day that the witness spotted them.
And fall is autumn, correct?
That's correct.
And so late fall in the northern hemisphere.
Yes.
So November time.
I'm guessing, yeah.
Okay. All right. Jotting it down.
So one of the sightings allegedly occurred 6 miles southeast of the town of Guernsey, Wyoming. Another sighting was said to have occurred at Bessemer Bend on the Platte River. I don't know why they ended with that sentence. That's where to them. Anyway, so it's a very short article, but it just gives you a little bit of a taster. That's what we're going to go on to. So I'm going to move on now to an article that gets into the sort of sightings a bit more depth. So this is from Faxology. Faxology.
Faxology.
I don't even know how to pronounce this. It's fax, and then so I thought it would be like faxology or something, but there's a CH between the fax and the ology.
Fact
as in would be like scology, faxology maybe.
Faxology.
Yeah, I think that's the
fact as in it's something that's true, or facts in the old telecommunication device for sending contracts.
As in a true thing, a fact, and then scology.
Okay.
So faxology, I'm going to pronounce it.
Cool.
Yeah. There you go. You want to look this one up. So by the late 19th and early 20th centuries, several men claimed to see a sailing ship appearing from the mist in the North Platte River. The ship, like the mist, came without warning. So I believe on this particular river, there is...
is it quite misty?
Yeah, they do get a lot of mist. So there's there's a sort of dam up there, and you can stirs up a lot of mist. You'll get sort of up on there apparently. So it's, you can stand on the shore or whatever. So the ship, like the mist, came without warning. But as each of the men approached the Phantom ship with caution, it was clear that the crew themselves were ghostly figures damned to sail along the river. Their only mission was to give those who appeared a deadly warning of impending death, and it was up to the men to reach their loved ones in time. The sightings and stories of these men were documented by a psychological research facility in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and later appeared in several magazines and newspapers in the mid-20th century.
So do you think that you would rush to try and save your loved ones, or you'd go, well, it's fated now, and maybe just have a sit down and start the grief process?
I mean, I think you'd try, wouldn't you? But
I don't know. How far away are they?
We'll find out. Do you think you'd just be like, oh, sod it?
Yeah. It's not me, is it?
It's 20 metres to the cottage.
I don't really want it.
It's going to happen, doesn't it? So why upset myself?
Exactly. I don't want to be there when it happens, and I don't
probably go camping for a few days, and then hopefully they'll have cleared it up by then.
Have you seen the price of petrol?
Yeah. Just want to move on with
gas.
my life now. Part 1 from the mist. So Leon Weber's the first spotting.
Oh, I've got terrible news for you. Your wife's died. Oh, I'll be honest with you. I already grieved and I'm past it. I did so on my camp trip.
Yeah. I just assumed it'd happen. It's 1869,
If you leave anyone for 5 minutes, there's a 50% chance.
Figure, play the odds for going back and she's there, then that's great, all to the good. But yeah.
Yep.
So on a clear September
awkward when you come back with your new wife.
Well, yeah, because it becomes. I've decided to become Mormon, love.
All right, darling. I've decided to become Mormon.
We're Mormons now. On a clear September afternoon, fur trapper Leon Webber and his dog several days into a month-long hunting trip.
Well, that's quite a modern name for a fur trapper, because it's normally like Roger, like Le Ponter or something like that, or
that'd be up in Canada, presumably,
or Foxskin Wilsons or something. Not like
Shandy O'Groats.
Shandy O'Groats, yeah. I don't know.
I mean, hey,
I don't want to say grizzly something because it's too obvious.
Yeah.
So I found the Platte River on Google Maps. So I can. That looks nice. A lot of camping around there. No,
of course certainly not. Call that a river.
Tell you what, the Trout On trademark in weddings, lodging, and guide fishing is £154 a night. It's a lot, isn't it?
That's quite pricey.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, don't know. I'd have to see the rooms, Chris.
It's still too much, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, for a rural hotel in Wyoming. Sounds like. Mind you, nice location, presumably, if you're into your fishing and sailing. I mean, there is a ghost boat. Because your loved ones. I'll be honest with you.
There's a portents. There's quite a high chance of
death on the river, but that's all part of the charm if you think of it in that way. Can I get a window not facing the portents of doom, please?
No, unfortunately not. They're all taken.
Yeah,
no, all of them. No, that's actually a thing with our lodge. All of the windows show you a portents of doom. That's
one way or the other. If it's not the river, it's going to be the horse carriage of chagrin.
I'll tell you what. The Riverview Inn looks more like our kind of place now.
Yeah, it would like $30 a night or something, and just like chug down some Thunderbird in there.
Yeah, it doesn't look like kind of place. Doesn't it? Like, oh dear. Yeah, it looks like the kind of place that you'd be found dead.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure it's lovely.
Outlines.
Sure, it's lovely, but it hasn't got a website or anything. It's kind of a.
It's not necessarily a bad thing.
It's kind of a turn up kind of place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere.
No, don't worry. They've got somewhere for you to stay. I mean, there is a Norman Bates looking an acting fucker on the desk. I would look out for peepholes. I'll be honest with you. Assume any mirror's a two-way glass.
Yeah.
Maybe want to cover it up with a towel.
Like one of The Simpsons where they go, is that a camera in the ceiling? Shh, go to sleep. But near the Riverview Inn is the Sunset Grill. Walking distance.
Ooh.
Let's have a look at the menu.
I'm sure that's some lovely wholesome food.
Beer battered mushrooms, $6.95.
That's all right.
Pork wings. Don't know what that is. $10.95.
Fair enough.
Pork wings.
I imagine what that is
pork testicles.
No, it's a bit like, you get pork balls. It's like chicken wings, but they've made it out of like diced pork or something. So it's like a chicken wing, but yeah.
Rocky Mountain oysters, $10.95. Cool, carry on now. Sorry, planning our next trip.
Fair enough. Sounds nice. So there you go. You've got some holiday tips there as well, listener. Anyway,
for us two people who don't drive, I'm not sure how possible it is for us to get here.
I mean, yeah, America generally is kind of like not kind to the non-driver.
No.
Yeah, maybe learn to drive before we go over there. So Leon Webber and his dog were several days into their month-long hunting trip. So marking their way through the brush near North Platte River, something emanating from it caught Leon's eye. A thick mist started rolling in, but it was a mist unlike any other that Leon had seen. And this is an experienced fur trapper, so he's seen a mist in his time.
Yeah, he's mist savvy.
Yeah, he knows mist, from fog. In the distance, it gathered into the shape of a large ball instead of spreading out along the river.
Pork ball.
Yeah, or pork wing. Yeah. Yeah, for those of our American listeners who don't, it's like a. So I don't know. I don't know if they have it in America or not. Like sweet and sour pork.
Yeah. Of course they do. Got lots of Chinese foods in America. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it's not always this. It's not. I can't imagine that's like a massively authentic Chinese dish.
I think it's fairly authentic.
Okay. And of course, which part of China are we talking about? I think it's
exactly.
Because most of what I can't remember, it's like
Cantonese.
It's not Sichuan, it's in Cantonese, yeah. It's based on one particular region. I mean, again, it depends where you're from, but a lot of our stuff is from the south, like Hong Kong, sort of Canton. Anyway, moving on. So, wanting to get a better look, they ran down to the riverbanks. His dog immediately whimpering and carrying behind Leon. Still intrigued, he grabbed a rock and tossed it. Leon's the hunter. Okay, sorry. There's literally one person in this story. It's a fur trapper called Leon. Yeah, I know, but it said the dog was carrying him. He's cowering behind Leon. So I thought you said carrying. It's Leon. There's Leon's dog, and his dog is now cowering behind him because he's frightened. And he's eating Chinese food. Yeah, he's okay. He's just come out of Chinese restaurant. He's eating sweet and sour pork balls or pork wings or whatever it was you were talking about, and okay. He threw one of the pork balls out of this mist. Spectral apparitions on. Thank you very much. To appease the old gods. Yeah. A taste like this would appease even a horse frost encrusted sailor. That's right. Come to Platte River Chinese. Popeye's authentic Chinese food. Pleasing to all planets, even the undead. It's a weird advertising campaign, but it took off. Right? What are you going to do? How are you going to stand out in this marketplace? Got to hustle. That involves a viral campaign involving... 4 tons of dirt, more like 4 balls of delish. Right. Wanting to get a better look... This is going now. Wanting to get some better... way of story I'm ready. Wanting to get a better look, they ran down to the riverbanks. His dog whimpering Caroline. And the dog's Cantonese. He hucks a rock, Okay. The dog is from Sichuan. Okay. This is the Leroy's trapper. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mao Zedong is writing his little red book on the banks of the river. He's thinking about the Cultural Revolution when suddenly a ghost ship comes past. Yeah. So which he blames on bourgeois capitalism. Yeah, it's clearly this is a manifestation of bourgeois capitalism. You need to be free from your own shackles, which have been, lovely. The chains of oppression you've put on yourselves this life. So anyway, scores. Scores. So, he's hacked a rock at the ship, yeah? He threw a rock at it? Yeah. Why? Why? He asking me to question. It's a perfectly question. Well, no, the fog isn't rolling out like normal mist or fog. Yeah. It's in a solid ball, so he's going to hack a rock at it and see what's going on. Because I'll tell you why, because a rock tosses off there. What, off the mist? Yeah, thus revealing it's solid, as he suspected, because it was all in like one ball. Okay. And now he knows what's going on. They're filming a Duran Duran video, and there's a dry ice overload. And I'm dancing on the North Platte River. Yeah. It was that, that song, Dancing on the River Platte. Yeah. On the Wyoming. It was one of their comeback albums. It didn't do very well. No, it's like 1992, wasn't it? But there was a temporal anomaly, and they ended up back in 1869, and a fur trapper saw it. It was the B-side to Ordinary World. Yeah. I mean, Wild Boys was weird enough, but... Wild Boys? Yeah. That video as well. I didn't realise they've got some really, early bad CGI in it. Beautiful. Oh, really? Well, it's between them on a windmill being dipped into water for some bizarre reason, and then just Wild Boys. Yeah, Wild Boys. And then just this weird CGI creature is just watching them get stabbed by a windmill. On a windmill. Wild Boys. Dipping in the water. Strange, What kind of creature is the CGI creature? Whatever you can conjure up with a C64 back in those days. All right. You have to watch it. Yeah. I'm not going to watch it. Oh, fine. Yeah, no, it is fine. You can't be fucked explaining them. Well, don't bother then. Yeah, well, there you go. Can I skin off my nose, dickhead? Yeah. I get on with the story now, ladies and gentlemen. You suck monkeys for cash. We stop acting like a fucking end of the pier act. Well, I don't think we'd get that gig. Yeah, no way. Sorry, lads, you got a bit more craft to do to this level.
Sorry, boys, you're just not connecting with the audience.
Maybe get
What's all that fucking stuff about Chinese food and Duran Duran?
What was that show? Thematically or was funny.
we booked you to talk about a fucking ghost ship.
Yeah.
No, but do you know what? Like, go away and work on your act.
I mean, I'll say this. Try down Butlins, you want to start off at the bottom, but I'll be honest with you, probably just fuck off and don't get a job in an office. A couple of fucking wankers like you. You think it's really meta, don't you?
Have you ever thought about the Merchant Navy?
Honest career, that's what you want.
Do you know what? I've just noticed something on the North Platte River called Washout Creek. Maybe that's where we should visit, eh?
Thematically, I think we are. Right, so...
Why are you talking about thematically all of a sudden?
Thematically, figuratively, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, you've been reading your books about scripts, haven't you?
Yeah, been reading...
yeah, we could do now.
Teddy Sheringham's
book on scripts.
Art of Writing and Commentary. It was one of the weirder deals.
Teddy Sheringham, how to get a pilot made by Teddy Sheringham. Hello, I'm Teddy Sheringham. I've met a few people. I've met a few of these Hollywood types, and I reckon I've got an idea on how you can get pilot made. Over the next 74 pages, you will find out.
What foolproof system?
Why it's necessary to have 3 different plot points.
Right, so we've got to the point where he's chucking a rock at it.
Yeah.
He then noticed something emerging from the fog. So it wasn't long before a large sailing ship broke through, making its way directly toward him on the riverbanks.
Shit.
Leon became overtaken by a sense of dread, noticing the ship was grey and dilapidated, various parts of it covered in a thin layer of frost. I mean, I was going to say this about our ghost ship.
Mm-hmm.
I think they want to be putting the graft in and haunting people in the ocean. Do you know what I mean? It pisses me off a bit. They're going up and down a river and there's just somebody innocent on a riverbank getting... That's a bit out of order.
What's your problem with people at sea? What's your problem with seamen?
I've got nothing against that. I'm just saying if you're going to go haunting, you want to be getting out in the ocean and doing it properly. I don't...
What you got to remember, though,
because if you're out in the sea, then you expect to come across apparitions of ghosts and sea.
You expect it, do you?
Well, more likely.
You've got to remember that rivers used to be massively
apparitions.
They used to be used loads, though. And some rivers still are, like the Danube. Yeah. That's used for loads of like proper shipping, and that it's really weird because obviously we live in a country with tiny rivers.
Yeah,
that are used for
little canals,
just used for
literal.
Well, no, for tipping sewage in, but
mostly
just sewage.
We're very much like the kind of like angry chimpanzees in the world, flinging shit in our own cage. Right. So you notice something from it. It was very blah blah blah. Ship came through. Sense of dread, layer of frost, yada yada. So on the deck, a ghostly crew stared blankly at Leon as the ship inched closer with each passing second. Unable to move, Leon stood in fear as the crew parted ways, revealing a coffin. The lid of the coffin slid open, allowing Leon to witness the body of a young woman lying motionless. His heart sank when her features became clear, revealing her to be his wife.
Oh, no.
As Leon let out a pained scream, the ship and the mist vanished. He's done the Teddy Sheringham course, this geezer. He flourished his hair. So he cut his trip short, rushing home to ensure his wife was safe. But upon arriving, several in his small town had already gathered outside of his home, where his wife was found dead earlier that day.
Well, what she died of?
No, they don't say.
No.
So though Leon tried to tell the rest of his story and the ship that foretold his wife's death, few believed him, and it would be another 25 years before the death ship sailed again. So that's number one. I believe that was in 1869. So yeah, and then we go to 1887. So yeah, that would.
I mean, there's a town here. The river goes through a town called Casper.
Well, funnily enough, the second sighting is the city of Casper.
Famous ghost name, of course.
Yeah. I'm not sure these are friendly ghosts, Chris.
No. I don't really know. Casper, the friendly ghost, never really took off in the UK, did it?
No, not
I think
at all.
it was very, very famous in America.
I mean, it's a bit of a fucked up kind of tale, isn't it? I get it's just like a kid's cartoon, but it's like, oh, it's a dead kid.
It's a dead kid, yeah.
He's haunting a thing.
Hey, don't
He's
worry.
friendly, though.
Don't worry about being dead.
Yeah.
I used to like the ghosts in... My favourite ghosts in cartoons were the ones that occasionally popped up in the Warner Brothers ones, who often had bowler hats and would smoke cigars and blow smoke rings and then dip the smoke rings in coffee like donuts. They were my favourite ones. Just letting you know, Neil, in case you're thinking of getting me something for my birthday.
Oh.
An apparition.
So, Gene Wilson. So, funnily enough, as you say, it's kind of a...
This one connected to Chinese food at all? I'm just trying to see if that's...
No.
No, okay, so that's not a through line.
So near the city of Casper, cattleman Gene Wilson, again, another modern-sounding name, rode up to the river on his horse, attempting to round up several of the strays. Okay, you'd expect them to be taunting people and doing water-based stuff. It's quite interesting to me that they're all, as you say, it's a busy river, I guess. So like Leon years before, Gene caught a glimpse of a mist forming some distance from him on the river. He commanded his horse to bring him closer, but the horse refused, snorting and attempting to turn away.
Fuck off.
Follow your horse knows.
Mm-hmm.
Just, let you turn back.
They'll always, they know more than humans.
They can sense it.
Of the ghost world.
Yeah, and they're attuned to these vibrations. The mist parted, displaying a large sailing ship that appeared to be anchored down. Later, Gene would describe the ship as a phantom ship, which made his nerves quiver. Ooh. He hopped off of his horse, but before it could tie it down, it turned, running a distance away. Undeterred, Gene proceeded forward on foot towards the ship. Approaching it, he could see the layers of ice covering not just the ship, but the 9 ghostly men who stood motionless staring at him. It was
so I have to assume that they have harsh winters.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know whether or not.
I'm having a look at it on Google. Like, it's not a very green place, Wyoming. It doesn't seem to have a lot of grass.
Yeah.
It seems to be like dust.
Okay.
Almost like desert. Or it's kind of like mountains and sort of desert. Really. Well, not desert. I don't know, what would you call it?
Scrubland, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. Doesn't look very
arid.
Doesn't look very hospitable. And I kind of always thought of Wyoming as like farmland for some reason.
Yeah.
Shows my ignorance.
I don't know, really. Not really. They do a lot of cowboy movies and stuff like that in Wyoming. I'm not entirely sure which part of America's it in.
Sort of.
I'm assuming.
No. It's near it's south of Montana. Montana's on the border with Canada, and so it's got like
northwest.
Sort of, yeah. But on the other side of the Rockies.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it's like in the Great Plains area, but also half of it's kind of mountainous.
Yeah. Because you get those kind of areas, don't you? Where it's kind of, as you say, it's quite mountainous, but it's not necessarily a lot of stuff growing. But yeah, don't know. And if it's that far up, I would imagine there's quite harsh winters. Far north. I mean, but again, it doesn't sound. It could be the middle of summer. If this is a ghost ship, I guess it doesn't. The rules.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking that the imagery of the frozen ship would probably tie in better if you had like a cold winter.
Yeah.
Thematically, if you had a cold winter.
I mean, this is late autumn, isn't it? So might get cold. Might get cold autumn.
Maybe it's a warning of the winter to come. Yeah.
Oh,
the harsh winter. With the cold northerlies coming down from the Dakotas and Saskatchewan.
Indeed.
Whipping down from Ontario.
Right. I'm going to try and speed through this a little bit more. So his
Good luck, kids.
Yeah. So 9 ghostly men, yada, yada, yada. Heavy sounds of steps coming from inside the ship when a spectral captain appeared in front of the men. I like the way they put in a little bit of performance here. Ghost ship. They're good. His frosted eyes stared at June as he made a motion for his men to bring forth a large object covered in a canvas. So they're getting more and more showman-like, these ghosts. I like this. 4 men brought the object.
Like a Vegas magician.
Yeah, exactly. Got a little bit of David Copperfield thing going on. 4 men brought the object in clear view of Jean. One gripped the canvas, drawing it back to revealing the lifeless body of a woman who'd been badly burnt. Jean later wrote, "The face of a woman who seemed to be terribly burnt. In spite of the frightfully scarred face, I recognised my wife. Overcome with terror, I screamed and covered my eyes."
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like a sort of poorly written novel, isn't it? It's When I looked again, the ship had vanished. Terrified of what this meant, Jean ran back to his horse and sped back to his home. Above the hilltop, just beyond his home, he could see the black smoke rising, and when making his way over it,
no, new pope.
His home, yes. Oh no. The conclave has had anywhere near enough time to come to a reasonable consensus. This surely means there'll be complete division between the different.
We're looking at another schism.
Oh. This is going to be another 13th century Pope in Avignon situation. I can just see it.
Okay.
We can't take another anti-pope in 2 millennia.
Pope and Casper. What next?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good one. Where would you, if you had to move the Pope, where'd you put him?
Well, I know
the second Pope.
If there's a second Pope.
Well, because they had popes in Avignon for about, I don't know, 90 years or something, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a bit close to Rome, isn't it, Avignon? What? I would like...
Iceland. That's where I'm going.
I would like to have a second Pope deep in the Congo Basin.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Or like Australia or something.
That's too easy to get around. I'd like it if the Pope was... Like, you had to go cutting through all of like the vines and stuff, but then like you open it up and there's like a big Pope, like the new Vatican in a clearing in the jungle. That'd be good.
That'd be all right, wouldn't it?
And instead of the Swiss Guards, it had like gorillas with spears.
Beautiful.
That'd be good. And
that's got to be like some Marvel movie, isn't it?
Probably.
Yeah. Like Captain Pope or whatever.
Feels more DC to me.
Yeah, probably.
Probably member of the Doom Squad. Jungle Pope. Tropical Pope.
All heroes wear capes. Some of them have hats as well.
Yeah.
That's kind of got a cape, any of the Pope.
Yeah, it depends what he wants to wear, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the cardinals have capes.
Yeah, fair enough. Right. Yeah, so anyway, house is burnt down, sees the black smoke rising, home's in ashes. Among the embers, he desperately searched for any sign of his wife, finding none. His next thought brought him running to the river about 100 yards from his home. It was here that he found the burnt remains of his wife. Putting together that his ill-fated wife had caught fire and attempted to toss herself into the river to extinguish the flames.
So that means stop, drop, roll.
Yeah.
Stop, drop, roll.
Don't wait until you get to the river, it'll be too late.
And also, do you know what? In these times, like 18 whatever, would have been all natural fibre, so you wouldn't have the issue with the with the polyesters and stuff like melting into the burn. So actually, I mean,
some ways better off. Yeah,
much better off. Just that's why I only wear hemp.
That's true. Just in case you get caught on fire.
Just in case you get caught on fire.
I mean, you never know. Some ghost ship might come along.
And also signed up to that Woody Harrelson MML, multi-level marketing scheme. MLM.
I've not heard of this, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Making it up.
Oh, okay. I mean, he did get really into. There was a time where I think it was like a Californian fad where there was oxygen bars. Did you ever hear about those? I think we're talking about 15, 20 years ago. But yeah, I think he owned a couple of those at some point. Or frequented them very.
An idea which came directly from the film Spaceballs.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much. Yeah. So Victor Hybe is our third and final sighting of the ghost ship. This occurred in November 20th, 1903. Victor Hybe.
So nothing for a while then.
No, we've not had one in 112. See, some of them claim there's been sightings elsewhere. Some of them, we'll come on to sort of that. Some people sometimes say, there's sightings every so often, but actually the last documented sighting was in 1903, so it's been 120 years.
Okay.
So Victor Hybe was near his home at Bessemer Bend, chopping wood by the riverbank. Any thoughts on Bessemer Bend, Chris? Any restaurants nearby you want to review? TripAdvisor?
I'll let you know.
Any locales? Okay, come back. You can make sure you come back and let us know if there's. So a few months prior, he had testified in favour of his lifelong friend Thomas Horn, who'd been accused of murder. Although Victor was adamant Thomas was innocent of the crime, the Cheyenne Criminal Court found him guilty, sentencing him to death. With no other choice, Thomas Horn and another escaped from jail, disappearing into the woods and leaving behind everything and everyone he knew, including Victor. But on this day, as Victor gathered the wood, without a warning, a thick fog materialised around him and the river.
Just to let you know, Red's Butte Ranch private lodging looks quite nice in Bessemer Bend.
Oh, okay.
Looks quite nice.
Price? What are we talking about?
Well, they have got a website, so probably less murdery than the other one.
but do we know how much?
Let's have a look.
Because it's a spectrum between getting murdered and overpaying, isn't it?
Yeah,
You want to fall on the right end of that spectrum.
Yeah, my life is only worth X amount. It's quite a lot. But you get 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, pets are allowed, minimum stay of 2 nights on the weekends.
Okay.
But average nightly rate $400. So what's that? 320 quid. So if you split that 5 ways, it's not too bad, is it?
Oh, okay, for the whole thing. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, that was sounding pretty bad, but actually, yeah, it's
actually very beautiful,
it's reasonable.
Yeah, very nice. Maybe we should go there instead of France.
If we're going to go investigate the death ship, then Bessemer Bend, where we're ending up. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks lovely.
As long as we can still get to that restaurant.
Maybe not.
Is there any restaurant or whatever it was? You were saying there was. I can't remember.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't be able to get there now unless we went on the river.
I'm sure there's. I'm sure we can get takeout. Get an Uber, deliver us something.
It's America. It's probably about 400 miles.
That's fine. Just give me a good tip.
Oh no, it's not. It's not too far. No, we could walk. I mean, like me and you, like we'd full-heartedly go and try and walk there, wouldn't we? That's the kind of thing we do. Instantly get killed by coyotes.
Yeah, rightly so.
Yeah, correct. It's a circle of life.
Yeah. Anyway, Thomas Horn. So, we've already gone through his escapes. So he sees. So the mist broke, revealing the phantom ship in front of him. Victor stood amazed, watching as the ghost crew lined up on the deck, staring blankly at him. Slowly, they started to tap dance. Unfortunately, it doesn't say that. A familiar voice seemed to echo around Victor, saying, "It said, 'All right, but I am telling you that you are hanging an innocent man.'" One of the crew responded, yet none of the men in front of Victor moved their lips. It replied, "That is not for us to determine. You were tried and convicted of murder." A canvas sheet dropped from behind the men, revealing gallows, and at the end of the crossarm, a lifeless body swayed, rocking back and forth along with the ship. As the body turned, Victor recounted, it was the face of my dearest friend, he whom I had defended with my testimony in court at Cheyenne only a few months previously.
It's just like immersive theatre now.
It is. I mean, I love how they put it on a show, the Ghosts. Yeah. This is brilliant.
Yeah, so each one, they kind of...
Let's see if Victor screams, "No! No!" So Victor shut his eyes at the sight of his dead friend, but when he opened them, his friend, the ship, and the mist were all gone. Okay, so this one doesn't scream and rush home.
No, he's a real man.
Oh, no, he gathered his items and rode into town, desperate to find information on Thomas. To his dismay, he discovered Thomas Horn had in fact been hanged that very same day.
Well,
so it sounds like he escaped and was hanged on the same day, which I suppose is, possible.
Yeah, I mean, once you escape, then due process is out the window, frankly. As soon as you get caught...
Get strung up now, boy.
Get strung up now. On that drug. No.
Right. Mind you, this is not... Well, yeah. Anyway, over the next century, there have been reportedly... Oh, here we go. Yeah, over the next century, there have reportedly been a few more sightings of the ship. Some have warned of incoming deaths, while others claim just to have seen a glimpse of a greyish ship with a ghostly crew disappearing into the mist. But no other account has been as well documented as the first 3 presented here. And maybe there's a reason for that.
God.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I will say about this river is it's not a very big river for all of the, it's not...
These ghostly happenings.
It's not like the Mississippi or something. It's not a massively wide river. It's like 25 metres wide.
Yeah.
So...
Which is why I think it's a bit out of order. Ghosts kind of like
Why? What is it? What? Right, what's
their end game? As with all of these things, Chris, I want to know. You know, what's in it for them?
That's not for you to know.
Well, I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, well, you
just want to know what's going on.
Yeah, but you can ask all the questions you want, but you don't.
Going around on a
maybe you don't
frost encrusted
maybe
ghost
you
ship.
Don't deserve answers.
Mm-hmm.
With your skeptical ways.
I might not get answers, but I can question. You know, one assumes they would have a motivation.
Yeah, but you're not just asking questions; you're also slamming them for not terrifying people on the high seas instead. Maybe they've got smaller ambitions than that. I mean,
fair enough.
You know, like maybe they're cutting their
podcast, becoming dead podcasters. That's where you go. You've got no ambition.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, this is like someone criticising you, going, Neil, why aren't you starring in the new Fast and Furious movie? Why are you doing a podcast? Because
obvious reasons for that. In fairness,
because
if Vin Diesel wants to get in touch,
because I've certain limits.
I'll be happy to talk about doing the heel turn in the latest Fast and Furious. Are they still making those?
Mm-hmm.
I assume they're pumping them out until everyone gets bored.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. But so, if you want to get in touch with Diesel, I'm English, I can class the joint up a little bit.
Well, I mean, you're not classy English, are you?
Scummy English.
Like gutter English.
Yeah. Well, you know, he's had Statham involved.
You're like the kind of English that we originally sent over to America.
Troublesome element that you'd be eradicated, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at its widest, it's 50 metres. I mean, it's not a big river.
No, I mean, it's not, but, you know...
But it's kind of hauntings.
But, you know, it's got a death ship, so...
Well, and this is what I'm saying. Yeah, it's impressive.
So the accounts presented... So the thing about all of these accounts, Chris, I'm going to go sort of jump back and forth a little bit on this, but I'm going to go strictly through the stories here. Because all of the information that was collected here was collected in the early 20th century by the Cheyenne Bureau of Psychological Research.
Okay.
Had signed witness statements by the men who saw the death ship. They originally reported in various magazines and papers in the 40s and 50s. Slight problem, the Cheyenne Bureau of Psychological Research never existed except in the retellings of the accounts, and there's no newspaper records that show any mention of it before the 1940s. It does exist now, though.
Okay.
And apparently the city of Cheyenne did not become a city until 1868.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I don't really care about it's like if it's a town or a city or a unitary authority.
And also the study of psychology.
Crown dependency.
And the study of psychology didn't come into prominence in the United States until the 1910s. Because, Freud would have been, that was only becoming sort of popular in sort of late 19th century, wouldn't it? So there wouldn't have been a Bureau of Psychological Research in 1862.
Or just saying something else about Red Butte Ranch Private Lodgings. It's got a denotation here that says it's LGBTQ plus friendly. That's nice.
That's good.
It's a good place. Check it out. Red Butte Ranch Private Lodgings.
I've heard that name, Red Butte, before. That's B-U-T-T-E, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, looks lovely. Check it out if you're in the area or you want to go in the area. Very reasonably priced.
It's a good Chinese restaurant next door. That's what we've established.
Down the road, yeah. Get Chinese delivered on the boat.
Pork balls.
Chinese boat restaurant.
Yeah. So in tracing the story of the death ship, the first mention at the Bureau are found to be the very first issue of Fate magazine in 1948, in an article by Vincent Gaddis, reporting the details of the sightings.
Hello, I'm Vincent Gaddis.
Welcome to the terrifying world of Vincent Gaddis.
Welcome to Fate magazine.
So
have you been to the Butte River recently? Because I have a story to tell you. How I think he spoke.
Platte River. So Fate magazine today is known for reporting instances of paranormal phenomena, investigating and debunking several claims, but in 1948 that may have not been the case. So back in the day, they would willingly publish articles from writers that weren't verified and researched. In fact, they published the article by Vincent Gaddis claiming these sightings of the death ship were true. If you've read some of our previous articles, specifically The Terror on the Paria and Ivan Visali, Russian ghost ships, the name Vincent Gaddis will no doubt sound familiar to you.
Hello, it's me again. Vincent Gaddis with another ghostly ship for you.
Stories. What I quite like, someone else is another one, he debunked some of it in a slightly more boring way, but they don't mention this in the one that I'm reading from, but on Skeptical Inquirer, it goes into this in quite well. It's not. It goes into it in quite a lot more depth. But one thing I like that they call out is the sort of language that's used that these people supposedly say. So I'm just trying to find it.
Do you reckon that Vincent Gaddis is just another nom de plume of Ryle Hubbard?
Of who?
Of Hubbard, the Scientology guy who did all the pulp sci-fi stuff.
Well, he was more, because he was more sci-fi, wasn't he, rather than ghosts. But yeah, you never know. He might have had a finger in that pie.
L. Ron Hubbard.
L. Ron, why haven't you cleared out the rabbit's hutch? Mom!
How he spoke.
Yeah, so various words and phrases in the 3 accounts seem unconvincing as the language of simple outdoorsmen. So they use the phrase "the vasty deep," which apparently is from Shakespeare. And then apparently they said the ship was...
Oh no, I have been caught in my own petard. My love of the classics.
The ship was covered with hoarfrost, which glittered in the rays of the afternoon sun. And it was the spectral ship of death. It all sounds very Hammer horror, to be honest with you.
It does, doesn't it?
We've seen Theatre of Blood. That's a fun movie. Anyway, so yeah, some of the phrasing sounds suspiciously, but who knows? It may have been one he was sort of reporting. He might have embellished it. We see this with some articles, don't we? Embellished
all the fucking time.
They might take it out for a spin, put their own bit on it. But yeah, so anyway, he basically wrote fiction when he was younger. This Ivan Gaddis. And he's known to have made up several ghost stories throughout his career, usually involving the sea and ships, selling them to various magazines and newspapers. And here's the interesting bit, Chris. He came up with the popular term Bermuda Triangle.
Did he?
So I've read somewhere else here, actually, that he may have been the first person to properly popularise the whole idea of the Bermuda Triangle.
Okay.
Which I suspect we'll end up coming to at some point somewhere else.
Yeah, we haven't yet. We've done the Alaskan Triangle because it's more interesting to us.
Yeah, but I quite like when you get these recurring characters. So with no mentions of the death ship, the witnesses of the Chan Bureau of Psychological Research prior to Gaddis' first article of the account, it makes it pretty clear all of this sighting never actually happened. Well, maybe not. Made up entirely by the writer. I mean, obviously, this is what the faxicology is telling us. The story's tapped into our desires of wanting a warning of impending death, especially concerning...
Absolutely not. I don't think that's what we want at all.
A warning of impending death, and then turning into tragedies. Oh, hang on a second. You've got to get the end of the sentence.
All right.
So the story's tapped into our desires of wanting a warning of impending death, especially concerning loved ones, then turning into tragedies when the witnesses ended up too late, save those destined to die. So in other words, they show you something where you think you could have saved the person, but then it's like, oh, it's already happened by the time you're seeing this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, so they've kind of like, I mean, there's a few articles on there that say, debunk it and say it was all made up by this author called William Gaddis, and it
can't prove it was, can't prove it wasn't.
Yeah, and no one else has, there's never been the same kind of sightings ever since the 1903 one. So, but anyway, there you go. It's a nice little story, isn't it, Chris?
Lovely story. I like that.
It's not, I thought
it was a little fun. Had all the aspects. Ghost ships, like good stagecraft.
Yeah, I like how they're very performative. I think that's
Cantonese
nice
dog.
Touch. Yeah.
That's good. We found
Chinese restaurant. Yeah.
Found some nice places to go on holidays.
Wyoming, go and visit.
Yeah. And Wyoming, of course, has the whatever it's called, the Devil's something or other, which is that extinct volcano from Close Encounters. That flat-topped mountain thing. Yeah. The Devil's Armrest. Okay, Neil. So, should we go for our scoring?
Scores, yeah.
All right. Spookiness, Neil. Fire ahoy. Yeah.
Avasci scores. Belay that. It's quite. Yeah, I mean, a ghostly ship. Sort of apparition comes. It all being on the water as well, and it's coming out of the fog. That'd be pretty spooky. I mean, the fact that they're a bit sort of theatre kids. Maybe knocks down the spookiness level a little bit. Although, if you saw, I mean, I don't think it sort of says them as being kind of like skeletons or something. In my head, that's where it goes. It was probably a bit more Pirates of the Caribbean. But yeah, I mean, they're very clearly like...
I sort of think of them as the White Walkers.
Something more like that, exactly. Sort of like covered in frost. I mean, obviously, they're covered in ice, then there's clearly something going on. and you can tell there's something emerging out of the mist. I mean, that would certainly that give you pause for thought.
Come from a frost dimension,
or Iceland as we know it. That's why they have, that's where Bjork got under tricks. So yeah, and I think that would be quite terrifying, especially when they show you a loved one who's on their deathbed. That would certainly be pretty spooky. So I'm going to give it it's not one that inherently would keep me up at night, but I think it's quite a spooky image. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
7. Yeah, I think. So yes to all you said, and these things coming out, like just suddenly a big ball of mist coming in, and then a ship coming out, and they're all like pointing at a body in the middle, right? That is quite, and they're clearly otherworldly because they're all covered in like icicles and stuff, like Mr. Frosty. I think also, right, what would make it spooky for me as well is it's quite a small river, and you're not really expecting to see anything like that turn up there. Do you know what I mean? Like it feels like quite a safe, like you're quite safe. Do you know? It's like nice, like flowing river. Doing a bit of fishing or whatever. It's not that wide, and then
it feels kind of incongruous.
Yeah, like just somewhere where kids would go and have a splash about or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like they suddenly turn like a big ghost ship turned up on River Ada or something. Yeah. So I think I'm going to go for 7 as well. I quite like it. Believability. So it sounds like this Vincent Pricer probably just made it all up. Yeah. I think also the smallness of the river does kind of stick in my craw a little bit as to a ship haunting it. But then, that's just me with my science hat on. Who knows? Anything can be haunted, I guess. Even this flower pot right here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I don't think people believe it. I think it's something. Yeah. I don't think it's very believable, and I think it's stories that were written afterwards as part of a pulp magazine, to be honest. So I'm going for a 2.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think this is where it falls down a bit. I think that there's inherently. I mean, if we take out the whole accounts of how they actually came to be, I quite like the fact that there's an Institute of Psychological Research and all the rest of it that they've found to sort of try and give some credence to these claims. It's quite funny. They've done the research and they've put a bit of effort in, which is good. I think for their little grift, but and for what really? Just to publish it in a magazine, but inherently,
or to get tourists and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the thing if they were doing that, and it was promoting it a little bit more, but it doesn't seem to be that push. You know what I mean? It's not like the Rougarou. They want to, they make a bit of cash out of it. They should be encouraged. I mean, it's been published. It's in you can find this in various things around. There's a few stories about it being in Wyoming, but they don't have a festival there, or come and see the ghost ship, or would you spot the ghost ship and all the rest of it. So it doesn't seem to be being pushed that much. But and he doesn't. Well, and I don't know.
But turn of the century was the age of grift, wasn't it? So
yeah, but again, I don't know that they had any financial incentive other than selling a story. So, but yeah, I mean, whatever.
He might have owned the lodge that we looked at.
Yeah, you never know. If anything, you'd probably be putting people off, might need to go in there. But maybe somebody didn't like you run the lodge, trying to put them off. Maybe the other way around.
Yeah, could have been Franklin it.
Yeah,
Franklining it.
All possible. Even without that angle, it doesn't inherently have a lot of believability. It's a nice little ghost story, but it's not inherently particularly believable, and you can't think that anyone does believe it. It's just other than like a nice little urban legend, I guess, for people who live in that part of Wyoming. So yeah, I think probably a 2 is probably about fair enough. 2.
So narrative premise. It's you first, Neil.
Yeah, I think there's a bit here actually. I think this is quite good. So I think the idea of this. I mean, the ghost ship, the fact that it just appears on a quite a small river. I think that's quite good. And, it's not like you can just appears when you're out doing your business. You're out doing a bit of hunting or a bit of farming or whatever it might be.
Watering your horse.
Yeah, just watering your horse. And then this appears, and obviously there's the whole thing as well. They don't do it out and about. They're going to tell you about the death of a loved one, but it's too late to actually do anything about it. So, Yeah, that's quite a nice little touch. You know, the fact that they're all sort of covered in frost and it's all dreadfully uncanny. I think it's quite. You know, you're going to get like a TV series out of this, but I think you could make for quite an interesting, good little film. At least it's a good for a little short story, if nothing else. So yeah, I'm going to give it. It's probably not got the makings of like a really long story, but yeah, a short story or a novelette or something. That's probably a 6 out of 10 for me on that basis.
6. Yes, everything you said. Plus, what I like is they don't do a lot, but what they do well, and they constantly try and improve on their show each time. So I've got a lot of respect for the craft. So I'm going to give it a 7. And Reach, well, I've never heard of it. I don't know how much there is about it. I can't imagine it's known much out of Wyoming. But yeah, certainly not big. So I'm going to give it a 3. Seems fair.
Yeah, that's probably about right. I'm going to give it a 4 out of kindness, but it's just because you can find it on the internet and stuff. But I think you're right. I think it's one of those ones where you kind of have to go hunting for these things. It's not one you're going to have heard of if you're not. You're probably not going to stumble across it, and it's not going to be well known in across the world or be particularly ancient or whatever. But yeah, you can find out about it if you.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's 38 out of 80, so not bad.
Yeah, nice little.
I enjoyed that. That was a fun little story. Yeah, it's a good. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a nice little story. That's all you know.
Nice little story. I mean, we're saying nice little story. It's a ghost ship that gives portents of death, and someone's wife died in the fire. But for our purposes, it's a nice little story.
It's a nice little story. Yeah, it's a heartwarming chuckle.
A little chuckle fest. I'm really going to struggle to write the summary of what this episode's about because we said a lot of stuff and I can't remember any of it. So
go back and listen to it, but I assume you're not going to bother to do that.
No, don't have time.
Neil and Chris talk shit, Chinese restaurants, and ghost shit. There you go.
I like to call this podcast Fire and Forget.
Yeah.
No, I do go back and listen sometimes. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that one. A little bit different, but hopefully a nice little story. And I apologise for us going off on tangents, or if you're
you might like that.
If you're someone who enjoys tangents, I know some people do, then I hope you enjoyed them. You can't please everyone, can you?
It's organic,
It's organic.
Do it on purpose, just sometimes
which is so wacky. Cool. All right. Well, have a nice week, and keep safe and enjoy the summer if you can. Provided, I don't know, can anyone enjoy anything anymore? I don't know, like world's on fire or not.
Well, enjoy the small moments.
Hey, stay safe. Enjoy
fighting the good fight, but try and make the most out of what you got left.
Yeah, don't let the bastards get you down.
Indeed.
See you next week.
Cheers.
Bye.
Goodbye.